If we haven't met before, my name is Natasha Chumia. I'm the director of Diaspora Connect, and on this channel, we like to give you information and inspiration on the real estate market here at home to help you who lives in the diaspora buy property back home in a safe and reliable way. Now, in today's video, I'm going to be talking to the chairman of the Zambia Institute of Estate Agents, Mr. Chileshe Musonda, and he's going to be sharing about the importance of using licensed agents for your property transaction. Before we get into all of that good stuff, I just want to remind you that we're on the road to 10,000 subscribers, and we really need your help to get there. So if you haven't done so already, then please subscribe to our YouTube channel and give this video a thumbs up. Now let's get into the interview. Good morning, Mr. Chileshe Musonda.
Good morning.
How are you today?
Very well. How are you?
Very well, thank you. So thank you so much for giving us the time. We know how busy you are.
I know. You're most welcome. I'm glad to be here finally.
Thank you. So now for a lot of our viewers in the diaspora, our friends in the diaspora, many of them won't even have heard of the Zambia Institute of Estate Agents. So can you start by telling them who the Zambia Institute of Estate Agents are? Who is ZIEA, or what is ZIEA?
So the Zambia Institute of Estate Agents is the statutory body responsible for the regulation and practice of estate agents in Zambia. It is established under an Act of Parliament, Act number 10 of 2000, which became active in 2010 in Zambia. So essentially, that is what the Institute is about.
Okay, so you mentioned something important, which was the practice of a state agency. So what does that mean? Does it mean that anyone can practice the business of being an estate agent?
Okay. So the very reason for the Act and the very reason for the Institute being in place is that no one can just do it. Over time, there's that perception. It's almost become a Jim and Jack issue. Everybody thinks they can do it. Everybody thinks they can sit and close a deal. But there is law, and only people who are registered under this Act are allowed to set up any business, or even at individual level, to do any estate agency.
Okay, so that will actually come as a surprise to a lot of people watching this video. So I just want to recap what you're saying, which is that for someone to act as an agent, they must be registered and licensed.
That's right.
Okay, all right. And they'll also be wondering, what are the benefits of that? Because as you and I know, there's so many rogue estate agents out there, or shall we say illegal agents. So what really are the benefits of using a licensed agent?
So to start with, you want to follow the law. You do not really have the option to use illegal agents. So when you are using an agent who is not registered, it's like your time or your days are numbered. If you are caught, we report you to the police, and in the Act, it's a criminal offense. It's not a civil offense to use an illegal agent. So to start with is you want to comply with the law. So if you are a citizen, you want to be somebody that follows the law. Even if you are in the diaspora, especially, you want to follow the law. So I think that's the first advantage of using licensed team of agents. Secondly, when you use a registered agent, you are protected because we have the records for all these agents. They are all required to operate from a fixed abode. So if something goes wrong, you can come to the Institute and we can go and find that person or that business for you. Also, our members go through training. They go through continuous professional development training, which makes them professional. You don't want to deal with unprofessional agents out there where one time your fee is this, the next time the fee is something else. So that is also something that is important. If you work with registered agents, you deal with professionals that know what they're doing. They're also able to advise. Our members will also guide you on price. Sometimes you come and say you want to sell a property for so much, and our members can tell you, actually, no, from the market you can get more. So the way you are thinking may not be right. So I think essentially those are the benefits of using a registered estate agent.
I just want to touch on some of the points you just brought out. One of which is talking about fixed abode, because we know that there are a lot of briefcase agents out there. So maybe you can also talk about some of the dangers of using a rogue agent. What are some of the things you've seen?
So obviously, the first thing that we've seen is we've seen a lot of scammers. There are a lot of scammers that sometimes don't even have a property. I think recently the Institute put out word that you should never pay viewing fees, and we said viewing fees were illegal. So when scammers come up with a scam, here's a guy that makes a deal with a caretaker for a property. Somebody is out of town for a month, and they're charging viewing fees. So every day they're making 500. Every day, literally,
right.
Just like that. So people get scammed in that way. Also, property by its nature, one of the characteristics of property is that it involves huge sums of money.
That's right.
It's different from other assets. You know, you can afford to deal differently with other assets, but property usually will involve huge sums of money. So if you are going to deal with agents in this space, you should actually be even more
careful,
inclined to use people that are registered, because if something goes wrong, you're going to lose a lot of money. Another thing about registered agents is in our act, all our registered agents also contribute to a compensation fund. So when something goes wrong and you have used the registered estate agent, the fund is able to refund you up to a certain level.
Yeah.
So there is some sort of insurance when you are using any agent under the Institute. And when you are not, anything goes wrong, you lose everything. And we have too many of those kinds of stories. And that's why I'm glad to be doing this interview and to disseminate this information.
That's
Sometimes
right.
So many people don't just know.
Absolutely.
So I think you're doing a great job with this, and we need to tell people that there's an option, there's something better that people can work with.
Yes, and I also want to maybe just in line with that point that there's recourse, because a lot of our friends in the diaspora will use a family member, a friend, and when things go wrong, I mean, you can't take your uncle or your cousin or your brother or your sister to the police or to court. You know how we are as Zambians. Yeah, so I also would like you to emphasize that point, that there is recourse if a registered agent does something wrong. Yeah.
Yes, it's a good point you raise. Of course, these are young professions in Zambia. So historically, people in the diaspora did not have this option.
Right.
So people just thought you must look for a relative and you must. But over the years, these institutes are now in place. We have professionals. We have professionals that now belong to international real estate bodies. So you can literally access the levels of service at an international level. So we understand where people came from. And maybe when they're having conversations in the diaspora,
yes,
somebody will say, I used my cousin. And so I think that's why this message needs to go out. We have a website as well. And so that's one way in which they can access information. Now, even through the internet, if you search, you can find profiles. Actual estate agents have websites as well. So a lot has changed. So people in the diaspora need to move with that change. They don't have to be in that space. And like you say, using registered agents allows them possibility of compensation. Of course, they should have good agreements with the agents. They must sign mandates. We need to be careful about that.
Yes.
We need to stress that. Don't just say, yes, the person is registered, I had a phone conversation with them, and they're now my agent. No. Sign a mandate, give them a proper agreement, have a set of their responsibilities, what you should do, what they should do.
Exactly.
So we also need to stress that sign an agreement. Don't just say, oh, we've moved. I didn't use my cousin. I used an agent, but there's no agreement. So let's move it all the way to that level.
That's right, that's right. So I'm so glad you mentioned about how people can actually check that the person is a registered agent. You mentioned that as ZIEA, we do have a website. But what can they do if they've used an agent and something has gone wrong? Who do they report to?
Okay. So the Act, the Estate Agents Act provides, gives power to the institute to check the conduct of all agents. And so anybody out there who has used an agent, who is a member of the institute, can bring that complaint through to us. We have a secretariat, we have officers, full-time staff who are there to receive these complaints. And apart from also just complaints about our members, which I think will be very few. Even if you have used an illegal agent, they should report.
Okay.
Because we have power as an institute to deal with that. We may not deal with it under disciplinary, but that's a criminal offense.
Right.
So there are other steps where that can be taken to help them. So they shouldn't feel, oh, they have this problem. I've checked the list, this person is not on the list. Even that should be reported to us with any information. If they signed any agreements and all that, they should report that. So we receive the complaint and we have a permanent disciplinary committee which will hear the case and it's a properly constituted committee, and so the issue will be heard. We have many cases and many of them get resolved very well. Where there's a mistake by our members are very quick to fix things. We have many happy clients that came and they had a problem, and our members also, where a few of them maybe try to cut a shortcut. Yes. You know, the moment they hear that you've reported to ZIEA, we have literally had cases which, even before we sit,
are resolved.
Because the members don't want to face the consequences of that. So generally we are really able to come through and help.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I'd like to take the discussion a bit more broader. Can you tell us about the importance of real estate? Because, you know, there's so many different economic sectors. There are different investments people can make. But what would you say is the role of real estate? What role does it play in the economy?
With the technology that we've had, virtually everything we've done it on real estate. So every building that we have, it's sitting on real estate, defined broadly from the perspective that it's interests that are in land. So if it's interests that are in land, everything is sitting in land. And like I said, we've not yet had the technology to make us start sitting and standing in the air.
Well, there's the metaverse now.
Yeah, so I'm careful with the way technology is coming. Things may start happening in the air, but everything is sitting on the land. Everything, one way or the other, is connected to real estate. And if you look at any development, any investment, any project which is being done, literally, I can be simplistic to say if we go to the industrial area right now and find all those manufacturing companies, they are sitting on real estate. Yeah. And so a lot of that activity is anchored there. If we bring it to the level of residences, where everyone is staying on real estate in one way or the other. Going further down, real estate then starts to play its role in investment. And at a critical point, what begins to make the difference is the ease of access to real estate. If people are going to do investments, since all investments will be done on real estate, how easy is it to access real estate? Mm-hmm. How are the laws that relate to the ease of accessing real estate? Zambia, of course, stands out in Africa. Our laws around real estate are very strong. I've been to some countries in Africa and I thought we had problems, and I landed there and found very weird leases and short term. Our leases go up to almost 100 years, which is sufficient for investors to recoup their investment. So we can't overstate the importance of real estate as far as national development is concerned, whether we're going to talk about agriculture, all that activity has to sit on real estate. Yeah. So if an investor wants to invest in agriculture, how easy is it for them to get 1,000 hectares of land? And is it strong? Is it firm? When they get that title, are they comfortable that they can bring in $2 million investment into that, and that can actually be safe? So for Zambia, I think we have scored very highly. We have good investments here, and it's a good place for investment. We can improve. We can improve, and I think we have a land conference where I'll be able to talk about that. But that's where we are walking into the conference.
Yeah, you actually just segued very nicely into the land conference. So can you tell us more about that?
Yes, we are excited about the land conference. The Zambia Institute of Estate Agents will be having the first ever land conference in Zambia, coming from the very fact that for so many years, so much has been said about land. People complaining about, I had this plot, I lost this land. What is happening? We have the people in the banking sector. They've been complaining. Sometimes they give out loans on pieces of land which something goes wrong. You have a mortgage, you want to execute. Suddenly land just vanishes. So somebody has a title. The same title did 3 people have to the same land. So there has been that cry, and we know that even from the political side, the president has been on record to say we need to do better on these things. So the Institute has stood up to say, look, let's start having this conversation. So we've set up the land conference. We were working in conjunction with the Copperbelt University, the Ministry of Lands, the Ministry of Local Government, who are the main players. And so we want to bring that group to the conference and invite everybody. What we want to do, the Ministry of Lands, we would like to bring a desk to the conference, which will actually be dealing with issues. So if you have pending issues, you've had something that hasn't been resolved, come to the conference.
So to have somebody who's available to network on your behalf, I think could be very useful.
That's right.
Yes, so thank you so much. You've shared a lot of information, and I won't let you go just yet. I do have one last question, which is, can you tell us about Chileshe Musonda? Tell us about yourself and how you got into this business of real estate.
Okay, so I started my career from the Copperbelt University, purely by accident. Yes, we all went to, that time we would go to the School of Built Environment, and we just thought we would all be architects. You know, it was all architecture. And when we got there, we discovered there were other areas like real estate. Then it used to be called land economies. So that's where I started from. So I did my degree there. Later on, I did my master's from the University of Reading in the UK. And then got admitted to the Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors, RICS. I'm a fellow of RICS. I actually became only the second Zambian to be a fellow after Dr. S.P. Mlenga.
Oh, wow.
Of RICS. I have my wife, I have 2 children, 2 girls. We set up the business. I run my business in real estate. I'm chairman for Sherwood Green Properties, which is now running as a franchise model. So I'm involved at a more strategic policy level these days.
Thank you so much for giving us the time.
You're most welcome.
This has been excellent. I've learned a lot from this discussion, and I'm sure our viewers have as well. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you for having me.
I hope you found that interview as useful and as informative as I did. Now, as always, we have a small clip that we saved just for our members in our Facebook group. So if you want to hear Mr. Musonda's advice on whether or not you should be investing in property right now here at home, then make sure you go onto Facebook, look for our Facebook group, the genuine Facebook group, because we've just heard that there's some fake Facebook groups for Diaspora Connect. Look for our genuine Facebook group, which looks like what is going to be on your screen now, and ask to join us. We have lots of great conversations in there. And like I said, you'll hear what Mr. Musonda said about encouraging you to invest back home right now. Now, I hope that you enjoyed the video and that you learned about the benefits of using a licensed agent. Also, the recourse that you have if you've used an agent and things have gone sour. And I hope it's also piqued your interest in that land conference. Maybe you can sponsor a representative to network at the conference and gather some data and information on your behalf. There's so many things that are possible. So don't forget, we're on the road to 10,000 subscribers. I know I keep talking about it, and it's really because we need your help to get there. So if you haven't done so already, then make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the notification button so you don't miss any of our videos. And give this video a thumbs up, and please share it with one other Zambian in your community who you know is interested in property issues back home. And connect with us on social media because we love to chat with you there. Otherwise, it's bye for now.